A mysterious self-discovery story about finding meaning begins with a single moment, when she was simply cleaning the A-10's cannon. An emotional life journey unfolds the second the crew chief sees her forbidden patch. What he recognizes changes everything. Selena James always preferred the hours when the base felt half asleep before the sun pulled the world into hard focus. Before voices filled the hangars and engines shook the ground awake, dawn softened everything. Even the A-10 warthogs lined in their rigid rows. In this fragile quiet, she could pretend life wasn't constantly measuring her, testing her. Watching her, she ran her hand along the cool metal skin of the warthog assigned to her that morning, feeling the faint vibration that always lingered after night runs. The A-10's cannon, the massive GAU-8 she knew better than most, sat exposed like a steel spine. Cleaning it was routine, predictable, safe at least. It used to be. She tried to breathe evenly as she worked. Slow inhale, slow exhale, letting the familiar rhythm ground her. The building scent of solvent, the grit under her gloves, the glide of the brush through carbon soot. These little things steadied her more than she ever admitted. Focus. One bolt at a time, one panel at a time. But her thoughts wandered anyway. Slipping into long shadows she wished she could outrun. She felt the weight of the patch on her sleeve even before she noticed its edge peeking from under the fold of her uniform. A dull, worn emblem, a secret she had carried too long. She tugged her sleeve subtly, annoyed at herself for letting it show. Her past should have stayed where she left it, buried under fire, smoke, and orders she couldn't talk about. A soft tremor rolled through her chest. Not now, not again. She tightened her grip on the brush until her knuckles ached. The metallic clang of boots on concrete broke her concentration. Selena stiffened. She didn't turn. She didn't need to. She knew that cadence. Steady, unhurried, authoritative. Crew Chief Rylan Cohn always walked like a man who trusted the ground to move for him. Of all mornings, he picked this one. His voice drifted from behind her, low and casual, though she caught the undertone he always had one. Didn't expect to find you already knee-deep in the adventure. Could have sworn you got off 6 hours ago. She forced her shoulders to stay relaxed. Couldn't sleep. Footsteps moved closer. You and half the squadron. He stopped beside her, and she felt his presence settle like a weight on the air. Rylan wasn't intrusive by nature, but he had a way of studying things, machines, problems, people, like he could see the inner mechanics of all of them. She pretended to focus on a stubborn streak of carbon, but then she sensed his attention shift not to her hands, not to the cannon, but to her sleeve, the patch. A silence carved itself between them, thin at first, then tightening like wire. Selena, he said quietly, almost disbelieving. Where did you get that? Her stomach dropped. She didn't look at him. She didn't have to. People only reacted that way when they recognized the symbol, and only a very specific kind of person recognized it. It's old, she said. Doesn't matter. But her voice betrayed her, carrying a trembling edge she hated. Rylan stepped closer. She felt the air change, charged, alert. I've only seen that patch once, he murmured. Years ago, on a team that wasn't supposed to exist. Her heart hammered. Please don't say the name. Please don't remember. He exhaled, the sound sharp in the quiet hangar. Selena, how are you wearing that? She finally turned. His expression struck her harder than she expected. Not suspicion, not anger. Something else, something she had avoided for months. Recognition. She swallowed hard. It's complicated. Try me. She looked down at the cannon. Her reflection warped in the polished steel. The memory it triggered burned bright, forcing itself into her mind whether she wanted it or not. The smoke, the pilot screaming, the countdown she thought would be her last. Her breath shook. She tightened her jaw, trying to lock her rising panic back into its cage. But Rylan's eyes stayed on the patch, and his voice came out barely above a whisper. Selena, you were there, weren't you? Her hands froze mid-motion. His next words shattered the fragile calm she had built for months. You're the one who dragged that pilot out before the whole jet went up. Her body went still. Her pulse roared, her past exposed, and the secret she feared most began to surface. If this faceless YouTube story gripped you, hit LIKE so more people find this emotional storytelling journey. Subscribe to follow this life meanings. Beware, Selena's past finally breaks open. Selena felt the world shrink into a single point. The patch. His stare, her heartbeat drumming against her ribs. She hadn't heard someone speak of that night in years, and certainly not here, in a hangar washed in morning light and the smell of solvent. Her throat tightened. Rylan don't, but he didn't move away. He didn't raise his voice. He simply watched her eyes sharp in that unnerving way he had, like he wasn't judging her, just assembling the truth piece by piece. I remember the report, he murmured. An A-10 down, a pilot trapped, and someone without orders ran straight into the fire. Selina's jaw locked. She wanted to deny it, but denial felt pointless now. "That's not the full story," she said quietly. "Then tell me." She shook her head. "Some stories aren't meant to be retold." He didn't argue. Instead, he lowered himself until he was at eye level with her, elbows resting on his knees, hands clasped, loosely neutral, patient, impossibly calm, but she saw the tension in his jaw. He already knew. He just needed her to confirm what the whispers, the classified files, and the burned edges of rumor never could dot. She wiped a streak of carbon from her glove and finally spoke. "He was alive when I got to him, barely." Her voice was thin, unsteady. The cockpit had collapsed inward, trapping him. There were shells cooking off in the fuselage. Every second we stayed was a gamble. Every step toward him felt like stepping into a countdown. Ryland's brows drew together, sympathy, not disbelief. "I wasn't supposed to go in," she continued. "Protocol said, wait for explosive ordnance disposal, but waiting meant watching him die. So I went." Her breath hitched as a sharp memory broke through the metal, screaming under heat. The pilot begging her not to leave him, the violent pulse of her own fear threatening to swallow her whole. "When I pulled him out, the jet blew apart behind us." A pause. 2 seconds after, Ryland exhaled, long and heavy. "You saved a man who should have died." "I did what I had to," she whispered. "I didn't," her voice broke. "I didn't want praise. I didn't want questions. So I left the team and requested reassignment. And buried the truth." She looked away, because truth doesn't help anyone. It only follows you like a shadow and makes people see you differently. Ryland stood slowly, processing her every word. His expression was unreadable, half awe, half something she couldn't name. "Selina, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here because you shouldn't have carried this alone." She opened her mouth to speak, but footsteps echoed across the hangar, hurried, purposeful. Ryland's posture shifted instantly. Selina felt the air change. Commander Holt strode toward them. Her lungs tightened. Ryland whispered, "Selina, brace yourself." The commander stopped only inches from her, eyes locked on the patch she failed to hide in time. "Airman James," he said, voice low, "we need to talk, privately, now." The tone wasn't hostile. It was worse. It was serious. Selina swallowed, knowing exactly what the next words meant, fearing the doors it might open. Asterisk if this suspense narrative pulls you in. Tap like so the algorithm shares this faceless YouTube story with more people. Subscribe to follow this emotional storytelling journey as Selina's past finally collides with her future. The commander's office always felt colder than the rest of the building, as if the walls absorbed every secret ever whispered inside them. Selina stepped in with careful breaths, the patch heavy on her sleeve, her pulse sharp in her neck. Ryland remained outside, but his eyes had said everything. "You don't have to face this alone." Though she was walking into the room alone anyway. Commander Holt closed the door, then stood in silence for several seconds, studying her like she was a complex schematic he needed to understand. "Airman James," he began, "there are things about you that don't appear in your record." Selina's fingers curled against her thighs. He continued, "And now I have to ask questions I never thought I'd be asking one of my maintainers." She kept her voice steady. "Sir, with respect, the patch wasn't meant to be seen." "But it was," Holt replied, "and now the matter is out of your hands." Her stomach knotted. He circled his desk and leaned against it, arms crossed. "I reviewed a classified fragment this morning, something about an emergency extraction team. An unnamed member who entered a burning A-10 without gear." Selina's breath caught. "That wasn't in the original debrief," he said. "Only in the restricted addendum." She said nothing. Then Holt said, lowering his voice, "I looked at the casualty report from that same week." Her chest tightened painfully. "Selina, the pilot regained consciousness last month." A pause, and he asked about the person who pulled him out. Her hands trembled. "He described you, not by name, by movement. Your gait, your voice, the way you kept telling him, 'Stay awake.' I've got you." A flash of memory slammed into her, heat curling around her skin, debris raining down. The pilot, trembling in her arms as she dragged him through fire. He remembered. She breathed, barely audible. Holt nodded slowly, enough to want a name. She shook her head. "Sir, I can't be in any report. The team, everything we did was meant to stay sealed." "I know." His voice softened. "And I don't intend to violate that. But the pilot is alive because of you. And because of that, there are people, important people, asking questions." Fear tightened its grip around her ribs. "Sir, am I in trouble?" Holt's expression shifted, surprisingly gentle. "No, but you're not invisible anymore." Her breath wavered. You tried to bury something that shaped you, he said, but the truth has a way of resurfacing when it matters most. She pressed her lips together, trying not to let the rising emotions show. She had worked so hard to stay small, to stay quiet, to avoid becoming the story. Holt stepped forward. At 1600 hours, you will meet a representative from Operations Command. Her pulse spiked. What for? To discuss your transfer request, he said. She blinked. My what? You didn't file one, Holt said. They did. Her blood ran cold. He held her gaze for a long, steady beat. The same team you left. The words struck her like impact rounds. Selina felt the room tilt her past, clawing its way back. Refusing to stay buried, Holt's final words sealed the moment. Airman James. They want you back. Her breath collapsed into silence. Asterisk, if this mysterious self-discovery story resonates, like the video to boost it to others seeking meaningful life stories. Asterisk. Selina stepped out of the commander's office, feeling as if the air itself had changed density, thicker, sharper, harder to breathe. The hallway felt longer than usual, her boots suddenly too loud against the polished floor. Rylan was waiting near the end, hands in his pockets, shoulders tense in a way he pretended wasn't noticeable. He straightened when he saw her face. What happened? She didn't answer at first. She just kept walking toward him until they were close enough for him to see the tremor she couldn't hide anymore. They want me back, she whispered. Rylan blinked. Back as in your old team? She nodded once. They submitted a transfer request on my behalf. Without asking, confusion flashed across his features, followed almost immediately by something darker. Not anger, maybe even fear. Selina, why now? After all this time, she leaned against the wall, grounding herself with a long, shaky breath. I don't know, but they wouldn't reach out unless something was happening. Something big. They fell into a heavy silence. Machines hummed in distant hangars. Jets roared somewhere outside. The base moved with its usual rhythm, oblivious to the shift happening inside her. Rylan finally spoke, voice low. Do you want to go back? She let her head fall back against the wall. Wanting doesn't matter. They saved my life once. I owe them. But I also built something here. A routine. Stability. Quiet. You mean peace, he said gently. She almost smiled. Sad. Peace terrifies me more than flames ever did. Rylan stepped closer, lowering his voice. Selina, you don't have to face this alone. She swallowed hard. Don't make promises you can't keep. He opened his mouth to respond, but before he could, a new voice echoed down the hall. Airman James, a man in a dark operations uniform, approached calm, sharp-eyed, unreadable. He carried a sealed folder under one arm, and the insignia on his chest made her pulse spike. Your briefing is scheduled earlier than expected, he said. You need to follow me. Selina felt the floor tilt beneath her. She's not ready. This isn't optional, the officer said, politely but firmly. Selina forced her breath to steady. She met Rylan's eye, saw the worry burning behind them, and shook her head once. I'll handle it, she murmured. Then she turned to the officer. Let's go. As they walked away, Rylan's voice, soft, barely audible, reached her. Selina, whatever's coming, fight it your way. She didn't look back. She couldn't, because she knew the next door she walked through might pull her deeper into a world she'd sworn she'd never re-enter. Asterisk, the room they entered was windowless, quiet and colder than Holt's office. A single table sat in the center with 2 chairs and a single flickering screen on the wall. The officer gestured for her to sit. Selina did, hands steady on the surface, though her pulse hammered beneath her skin. The officer opened the sealed folder. Before we begin, you need to understand something. What I'm about to show you is restricted to level 5 clearance. Speak of it to no one. She nodded. He pressed a button. The screen lit up. At first she didn't understand what she was seeing. Blurry, thermal footage, shifting shadows, outlines of aircraft wreckage. Then her breath caught. NA-10. Down. Smoke pouring from the fuselage. The officer spoke quietly. This happened 48 hours ago. Selina felt her throat tighten. Is this why my team contacted me? No, the officer said. This is what they were deployed to respond to. Her body went cold, but the distress signal we recovered. He tapped the screen. Her voice crackled through static, fearful, strained, half-conscious. James, if anyone hears, tell her thank you. Selina's breath hitched, that it was him, the pilot she saved, alive and calling for her. She stared at the screen, unable to move. The officer continued. We believe this crash is connected to the one from your classified incident. Same failure pattern, same distress code, same signature. Selina whispered. Impossible. That shouldn't be possible. Yet here we are, the officer said. And your old team wants you reinstated because you're the only one, not one of the few. The only one who's solved this failure before. Her hands curled into fists. The officer leaned forward, voice dropping. Airman James, what you did wasn't just heroic. It was technically impossible, and we need you to do it again. Fear, guilt, responsibility all collided at once. I'm not her anymore, Selena whispered. The officer closed the folder calmly. Then you need to become her again. Her heart pounded. Her mind spun. My team will arrive in 48 minutes, he said. If you refuse the transfer, we will honor it. But if you agree, your role will not be maintenance. She stared at him. Then what? His answer chilled her to the bone. You'll be leading them. Selena felt the world narrow into a point of raw, sharp dread. Take the time you need, he said. But you don't have much. The door opened. Selena remained frozen. Selena walked back toward the hangars like a ghost, silent, weightless, yet crushingly heavy inside. The sky had dimmed into late afternoon, streaked with gold and fire. She barely saw it. Her thoughts were a storm. They want me to lead. A pilot is alive because of me. Another is down. The failure is repeating. Why now? Why me? Her boots slowed as she approached the familiar line of A-10 machines. She understood better than herself. Their shapes grounded her, reminded her of the life she'd built here. Quiet, precise, unremarkable. A life that felt suddenly borrowed. Ryland spotted her from across the hangar and immediately headed toward her, concern written all over him. What happened in there? He asked gently. She opened her mouth, and for a moment, no sound came out. Finally, she whispered, the crash from months ago. It's happening again. Ryland's eyes darkened. Selena, and they want me to lead the team to stop it. A long silence stretched between them. When he finally spoke, Ryland's voice was raw. You didn't run into that fire because you're reckless. You did it because you know when something matters. And this matters. Her voice cracked. What if I failed this time? Ryland shook his head. Then no one else could have succeeded either. His certainty disarmed her. It made her feel seen in a way she hadn't expected. She looked at the warthog beside them, the gleaming cannon. The reflection of her small, shaken figure in the steel. I left that world for a reason, she whispered. And maybe, Ryland said softly. You were meant to come back with more strength than you left with. She swallowed. The officer's words echoed. You don't have much time. Selena looked down the row of A-10s. They looked like they were waiting for missions. For pilots. For her decision, Ryland, she said quietly. If I go, I don't know when I'll be back. Then come back when you're done, he said. You don't owe the past anything except the truth. And the truth is you're the only one who can stop this. She felt the weight of his words settle deeply inside her. Then she heard it faint at first. Then growing the rumble of an approaching convoy. Her old team, they were early. Ryland stood beside her as the vehicle stopped. Dust rising around them. Figures stepped out, shadows from a life she'd buried. Selena inhaled, exhaled, and stepped forward. Not because she was fearless. Because the fear meant she was walking toward something that mattered. The commander's voice cut through the wind. Airman James, what is your decision? She looked at Ryland. He nodded once. She looked at the team. Their eyes held the same silent trust she once knew. Then she looked at the A-10, the machine that had unknowingly shaped her entire life. Finally, she answered, I'll lead. The wind carried her words across the flight line, steady, certain, unshakably hers. If this faceless YouTube story hits you emotionally, like the video so more viewers find this life-meaning story, subscribe to follow Selena's journey as she steps back into the world she tried to leave behind.